For a long time during the 80s, 90s, and into the 21st century, I described the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society as a publishing company masquerading as a religion. But I was wrong. For over a century, Jehovah's Witnesses, through the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, have presented themselves as a religious organization dedicated to spreading their interpretation of Christianity. However, behind the facade of their spiritual mission lies a lucrative enterprise, an empire built on real estate. The organization has amassed a vast portfolio of properties worldwide, including kingdom halls, Bethel complexes, and residential buildings. And these properties are often acquired through donations from members. But the Watchtower has also been known to engage in strategic purchases and sales. A key component of the Watchtower's real estate empire is the kingdom halls. And these modest places of worship are found in communities around the globe. However, the Watchtower has also been involved in the construction and maintenance and selling of kingdom halls, with them having central control over these properties. And the recent appointment of ExJW, an international real estate broker, to the governing body further exposes the reality. The Watchtower organization is as much, if not more, a real estate corporation as it is a religious entity. And the inclusion of ExJW, whose background is rooted in international real estate, to the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses marks a significant shift in the organization's leadership profile. Traditionally, the members of the governing body are long-serving elders who have spent their lives focusing on spiritual matters. ExJW's appointment, however, raises eyebrows because of his corporate expertise in the real estate world.
The CCIM PIN or designation is recognized in the real estate industry, both locally in the United States as well as internationally, as being a premier real estate designation. The CCIM stands for Certified Commercial Investment Member. And in order to obtain this designation, one has to complete both a rigorous educational component as well as real-life experience, a portfolio of qualifying experience. The educational component revolves around 4 core classes, in addition to other classes. Those 4 classes are case study-driven courses. They revolve around financial analysis, market analysis, user analysis, and then investor analysis. Other classes include ethics, advanced negotiations, and other classes specific to the need that we may have at the time. The portfolio of qualifying transactions, or the real-world experience, requires that we have both a volume requirement, or we've done a number of transactions, as well as what type of transactions are allowed. This ensures that the CCIM has a business understanding that they can use to help their clients. All of this put together allows one to become a CCIM and a member of the CCIM Institute. Once one has received the designation or the PIN, then one opens doors to both technology, information, and a network of other CCIMs. And that's important when trying to get deals done. For example, what return is the client expecting? Will this investment reach that return? In addition, it will look at making sure that we have a network of other CCIMs, so if we can't find the property, we can identify others who can. Putting all of this together helps us get the deals done for the client. Because in the end, we recognize that the client's going to be making an important decision, a large financial decision, and our goal is to make sure that the client makes an informed decision that will help them reach their goals and needs. And of course, if we can help you here at Touchstone International Properties, please read us on the web at TIPCRE and ask for Jody Jadley.
Why would a religious group appoint a real estate professional to one of its most powerful governing roles unless real estate was a significant aspect of its operations? The timing and context of this decision led to one obvious conclusion: the Watchtower organization's reliance on property investment has become critical to its survival and growth, and placing someone with deep industry knowledge on the governing body ensures the continued success of its real estate ventures.
You look around the world and we see all the buildings and facilities we have, and we are amazed at what Jehovah has accomplished. But many times we see the buildings, we hear the need for more facilities, but we may not think about what goes into making these available. I know for me, it builds my faith when I consider how Jehovah's unified people accomplish an incredible work in these last days.
We're in a very fast-moving organization, and because of that, there's a need for facilities worldwide. There's always hundreds of projects going on at any given time. There's a need for more Kingdom Halls now than what we thought back in 1999 when the program for lands with limited resources was started.
There's a tremendous amount of work that still has to be done. And because of this, we appreciate the prayers of our brothers and sisters and their donations in support of the work. But we especially think of our individual brothers and sisters who offer themselves willingly to assist in the projects being done.
This is a significant responsibility, and much prayer goes into the process. We look to Jehovah because we want to be sure that what is finally produced in the best possible way accomplishes His purpose.
When we look for property, first of all, we have to clearly establish what we're looking for, the size of the property, the location, other factors such as accessibilities, where are the utilities located. We form property search teams that investigate all the properties in the search area. Then there's often a lot of investigations as to the impact on the environment. We need to do soil tests, we need to do a legal survey.
More important than the buildings are the effect of these buildings. It starts off often with a blank piece of paper, and it provides the framework that the other disciplines can use, because the builder needs accurate drawings and specifications so that he can take these concepts and turn them into a real physical building. We're sitting here just designing buildings, but at the same time we know that we're having an impact on our brothers and sisters and ones around the world.
We also have a team of estimators. They will take these plans when they are near completion, and they will measure quantities, they will look at various aspects like taxes and duties, and eventually they'll come up with a comprehensive budget. And then once that's approved, then the project can move ahead.
We look into the local building codes regarding fire regulations, life safety regulations. In many countries we have seismic conditions, so we design the buildings so that they can withstand these kind of elements. At the outset of a project, we would like to know how much does the project cost, what's involved in the project, the scope, and also how long will this project take.
We do a lot of research. We want to be sure that they're functional, that they are energy efficient, and that they have as low of an impact on the environment as possible.
For the governing body to help them to visualize this project, we would make some sketches in a big package for them, and then we would put some images, just all information that they need so that they can at the end have a good picture. You know, it's not a client that you don't know. It's for your brothers and sisters, and you think, I want to make it the best for them so that they feel comfortable and they are happy in where they are living.
And to understand the scope of Watchtower's real estate holdings today, we must first go back to its roots. Jehovah's Witnesses, once a fringe millenarian movement in the late 19th century, began in Pennsylvania, and before establishing their headquarters in Brooklyn, New York in the early 1900s. This move to Brooklyn's Columbia Heights neighborhood laid the foundation for what would become one of the most valuable real estate portfolios in the city. And under the guise of acquiring properties to serve their missionary and publishing efforts, the Watchtower began to amass a significant amount of prime real estate in Brooklyn Heights. Over time, the organization quietly acquired multiple buildings, expanding its presence in one of the most desirable and historic neighborhoods of New York City. And despite the Watchtower's claim that these properties were essential for their spiritual work, the reality was that many of these buildings were underutilized. The organization converted some into high-end residences for its leaders and visiting missionaries, but a large portion remained as commercial real estate holdings, appreciating in value over the decades. And then in the mid-2000s, the Watchtower organization made headlines as it began to sell off its highly coveted Brooklyn properties. And these sales were strategic, coinciding with the organization's decision to relocate its headquarters from Brooklyn to a newly constructed facility in Warwick, New York. The decision to leave Brooklyn was presented as a spiritual and practical move to distance themselves from the world's distractions, but the underlying financial benefits were impossible to ignore. By selling off their Brooklyn properties at the peak of the New York real estate market, the Watchtower reaped billions of dollars in profits. Notable sales included the Watchtower's flagship building at 25 Columbia Heights, which was sold for over $340 million, and a nearby 733,000 square foot office complex at 85 J Street, which went for $375 million. These massive sales, combined with other small transactions, are estimated to have netted the organization upwards of $2 billion. And this begs the question, what does a religious organization do with billions of dollars in profit from real estate? The answer lies in their reinvestment strategies and the accumulation of additional properties across the globe. The proceeds from the sale of the Brooklyn properties were not pocketed or used purely for religious work. Instead, the Watchtower organization reinvested much of the money into acquiring new properties worldwide. In locations as diverse as London, Toronto, and Sydney, Jehovah's Witnesses have quietly purchased valuable land and properties, continuing the expansion of their real estate empire. The Warwick complex, a sprawling facility set amidst serene woodland, may be the most notable of these acquisitions. However, it is far from the only one. The organization has also invested in massive properties in rural areas for the construction of new kingdom halls and branch facilities, further enhancing their global footprint. In addition to rural properties, Jehovah's Witnesses have also continued to purchase urban properties, targeting areas where land value is expected to appreciate over time.
Finding out where we're going to buy the materials, deciding what materials need to be imported. We have to see if we're going to bring in skilled volunteers locally or from overseas, and whether we're going to use a contractor or not.
Those of us that came to help out initially as the project started, we didn't have much experience. We didn't have the technical training, and simply just need willing people.
I think I'm a good example of someone who is not suited for construction, but doing it, you get the full benefits and you really do grow.
I'm just trained just here in Bethel. I'm the operator of the skid steer, loader, and forklift.
So I'm absolutely happy. I had my desire, I had my energy, I had my singleness, which I could use to serve Jehovah in the construction.
You're in the middle of nowhere wherever you go build, but you still have so much fun. And you're all going in the same direction. And the way they had the camaraderie and just the way they all got along. And I was just like pretty much hooked. Seeing how happy the brothers get, especially when you go to a new congregation and you see the old building, or some brothers used to have their meeting in a garage. Quite amazing to see that happiness.
Well, after moving into our beautiful new facilities, we actually have an obligation to ensure that they stay well maintained. This allows us to get the best use out of the investment.
When you think about the millions of dollars invested in branch facilities, remote translation offices, they do need to be properly cared for, which involves providing written instructions, a yearly maintenance schedule, and also providing hands-on training for the brothers. We've had the opportunity to visit 30 different countries. We feel that our work does make a difference.
Do the job that you like for the person that you love most, Jehovah God and his organization, is something that you cannot compare to anything else.
I've enjoyed my life and I wouldn't give it up for quits.
There is no border in Jehovah's organization. You all work together for one purpose, and that is for Jehovah.
Yes, the work of building has had an important place in Jehovah's organization all the way down through time. And we've seen the same in modern times. There are over 270 large projects currently needed, which includes 90 remote translation offices, 35 assembly halls, and 130 branch projects. In addition to that, there's a need for over 13,000 Kingdom Hall projects worldwide. A tremendous amount of help is needed, both in the way of donations and volunteers. However, we are sure that Jehovah will provide what is needed through the generous spirit of our dear brothers and sisters. Yes, Jehovah's unified people are transcending national boundaries, cultures, and languages to provide facilities, all to Jehovah's praise.
And Watchtower's acquisition strategy mirrors that of major real estate investment firms. They seek properties in developing areas or places where prices are expected to rise, holding onto them until it is time to either sell for a profit or develop for their own purposes. This kind of strategic real estate play is typical of profit-driven corporations, not religious institutions. The Watchtower organization's financial success hinges on the contributions of its members who donate their time, their money, and labor to the cause. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that their offerings and volunteer work are acts of devotion to God. However, many are unaware that their contributions also help finance the organization's real estate dealings and, of course, to settle child sex abuse cases. And Jehovah's Witnesses around the world volunteer to build and maintain kingdom halls, assembly halls, and branch facilities. While these properties are ostensibly built for religious use, the Watchtower retains full control of the assets. In many cases, local congregations are required to raise funds to build or renovate their kingdom halls, with the Watchtower holding the property deeds. When it suits the organization's financial interests, these properties can be sold off with none of the proceeds going back to the congregations that helped finance and build them. And this centralized control over real estate assets allows the Watchtower to continually expand its portfolio without directly paying for much of the labor or construction. The organization essentially uses free labor provided by its members to grow its wealth while maintaining the appearance of a religious organization merely seeking to build places of worship. And one of the key advantages the Watchtower enjoys as a religious organization is tax exemption. In most countries, religious institutions are not required to pay property taxes, income taxes, or capital gains taxes on their holdings. This status allows the Watchtower to profit from its real estate activities while avoiding the financial obligations that typical for-profit organizations must contend with. In the United States, for example, the Watchtower's vast property holdings are free from the burden of property taxes. When they sell a multi-million-dollar building for a profit, they do not pay capital gains taxes on the transaction. This tax-exempt status is a critical component of their real estate strategy, allowing them to generate immense profits while reinvesting into further acquisitions without the tax liabilities that would otherwise erode their earnings. And critics have pointed out that this is a clear exploitation of tax laws intended to support genuine religious and charitable work. While the Watchtower does engage in some charitable activities, the bulk of their wealth is tied up in real estate, not in spiritual or humanitarian endeavors. Their ability to operate like a real estate corporation while enjoying the benefits of tax exemption is a key part of their financial success. And one of the hallmarks of a for-profit corporation is accountability to shareholders and transparency about its finances. However, as a religious organization, the Watchtower is not required to disclose its financials to the public. This lack of transparency allows them to operate in a manner that is opaque to both the outside world and their own members. And the organization's financial dealings, including its real estate transactions, are kept largely hidden from rank-and-file Jehovah's Witnesses. Few members are aware of the full extent of the Watchtower's property holdings or the profits generated from sales. This secrecy is further compounded by the organization's control over the narrative presented to its members. Discussions of real estate are framed as necessary for the preaching work, while the financial benefits are rarely, if ever, mentioned. This lack of accountability creates a situation in which the organization can prioritize financial interests over spiritual ones without facing any internal pushback. Jehovah's Witnesses, taught to trust and obey their leaders unquestioningly, are often unaware of the extent to which their religious donations and labor are being used to support a multinational real estate empire. And Jody Jedeli's appointment suggests that the Watchtower's leadership is prioritizing financial acumen over spiritual leadership. The Watchtower's increasing focus on real estate also raises ethical concerns about how it uses its members' donations and volunteer labor. Many Jehovah's Witnesses believe their contributions are being used to spread the religious message and help others, yet much of that money and labor is funneled into the organization's real estate dealings, which benefit the organization financially, but do little to further its stated spiritual goals. And this conflict of interest calls into question the true priorities of the Watchtower's leadership. Is the organization truly dedicated to spreading its religious message? Or is it more focused on building and maintaining a lucrative real estate empire? The appointment of a real estate broker to the governing body provides a strong indication that the latter is becoming increasingly important. And the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society has carefully crafted its image as a religious organization devoted to spiritual purity and dedication to Jehovah's work. However, behind this religious facade lies a well-oiled corporate machine, with a significant portion of its operations focused on acquiring, developing, and selling real estate. While the Watchtower organization continues to present itself as a spiritual entity, its actions and leadership choices reveal a different reality. It is a multinational real estate corporation leveraging tax-exempt status, free labor, and the financial contributions of its members to build an impressive property portfolio. The disconnect between the Watchtower's public religious persona and its private real estate dealings calls into question the integrity of its leadership and its true priorities. As Jehovah's Witnesses continue to dedicate their lives to what they believe is a spiritual cause, the organization they serve grows wealthier and more powerful through real estate. In effect, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is a corporate business masquerading as a religion.